my two children are deaf, so the American Sign Language became the language of communication for us with them. And so that experience, I think, sort of challenged my thinking about communicating and how we communicate. So I used a lot of sort of hand shapes that were particular to American Sign Language initially, but then I started looking back at the study of gesture through history, and goes back and recognizes now that even like in Roman times, for the oratory, there were specific hand shapes that had meaning, and they were given meaning, and everybody understood them as having a meaning. A lot of my work has to some extent explored the notion of the multisensory. So this work has a olfactory quality to it. I'm working with wax and an agent called asphaltum, which is something that's used in lithography to charge the image on the stone. And it's a very dense, rich, dark, black material. And that gave me an opportunity to embed the wax also with spices. So I use various spices, and that, to me, as a viewer, I hope it sort of elicits a response, to some sort of memory, perhaps, to, something that you experienced when you're growing up in the kitchen, or smelling, someone was cooking, and those kinds of things. So at some point, bring in a text, which again is another form of communication, another language. And feel, for me, in this piece here, that the word feel is actually in the piece. It has several meanings. It has the meaning of, you touch something, and how does that feel, right? The tactile. How do you feel today? How are you feeling today? And so that sort of broadens the definition of feel for me. And I've explored the notion of emotion, I guess, and the power of the brain and how the brain works. And the piece here becomes sort of separated. I mean, the face becomes separated from the head. And it's hard to tell, but the head here is actually from an early illustration of wrapping a head injury. So it's a first aid. And often people, the experience with my children who are deaf is that deafness is often a result of brain trauma. And often disabilities are, different types of disabilities are some sort of, fetal brain damage or something that's happened afterwards. So I keep going back to that notion of sort of referencing the brain and the impact of damage to the brain, I guess, and how it affects people. Also, there's the technology that deals with repairing the brain, and the whole question around in deafness, the question about cochlear implants, which is a type of brain surgery, so it's an area that troubles me, and I try to express that sometimes in my work. I try to do it in sort of more poignant ways.